Dorian scale is my most favorite scale to learn, and you should learn it too right after you learn those 5 minor pentatonic fingerings, guys. That's my opinion. I'm gonna really explain you guys in this lesson a little bit why you should learn that scale first, and it should be your favorite scale as well very soon. Secondly, I'm gonna also motivate you to just how to learn it, and thirdly, we're gonna do some really cool lines in style of Greg Howe, keeping it simple. In-screen tablature, as always, downloadable tablature for my Patreon, so consider supporting me a little bit on Patreon, links description below. Also, just right after I started Introspection Academy, I made this beautiful arpeggio guide, which I of course always think fusion players or beginning fusion players should really have, so you can grab that for free in the link in the description. If you don't want to miss anything of these kind of lessons, guys, they're part of the Roadmap to Fusion online course that's going to be released later this year. Just subscribe to the channel. Let's get into the lesson right now. So why is the Dorian scale really the first scale you should know after learning the minor pentatonic scale? Simply because it sounds so freaking awesome, right? This is one of my most favorite scales of all times. I've been studying and playing guitar for 25 years and it still is, right? It's also a scale, if you learn it like I'm going to show you in a moment, it's just an upgrade of your 5 minor pentatonic mode. So if you already know your 5 minor pentatonic, those 5 fingerings, I'm gonna just add some few notes. You're like in no time you're gonna sound Dorian, right? You're gonna get that sound, right? We're not going to take the route of the 3 upper string, the Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian modal approach, because that's way too overwhelming. It's gonna get you paralysis analysis, and I bet half of guitarists, like once they learn the minor pentatonic scale, they're going a little bit in those kind of scales. They get like, you know what, I'm gonna stick with the minor pentatonic scale for now, just because it's so overwhelming. And to be honest, guys, I took that route 15-20 years ago. It took me 3 years to find the link between minor pentatonic and all those modes, so I did it completely wrong. As a teacher now, I'm saying stay away from 3 upper string for now, stay away from all those Greek names, and just hear me out, guys. Your next step into the fusion world is nothing more than taking those simple minor pentatonic shapes and just add a note here and there, and we're going to add just those notes to get a Dorian sound, which is kind of a sophisticated minor sound. Alright, guys, good. So let's go into that scale for now, right? So here's the backing track we're going to use. The backing track is also all up on Patreon. Here it is. It's a C minor backing track, right? I don't know why I do this, but I do this all the time. So minor pentatonic, C minor pentatonic is gonna work, right? So that's not what we're here for, right? We want to add some extra notes. I'm gonna play now a little bit Dorian. You'll hear how it sounds. That's the Dorian sound, right, guys? So here's the Dorian scale for you guys. Here's the fingering, just to give you that. Here's on screen too. And I hope you really see that point now, right? That I'm just adding a few notes. I'm stepping a little bit to the left sometimes, but in general, I'm staying to that box, right? That simple minor pentatonic box you already know. Just adding a note here and there. That's all I'm doing, guys. Right? And you'll also easily understand that, all right, I've done that treatment here on that first fingering of the minor pentatonic, or position 1 or box 1 or pattern 1, whatever you want to call it. I can do the same thing with the other 4 patterns. So here's a diagram or a figure, guys, where what I've done is you just see the 5 minor pentatonic fingerings again. I just highlight it with a red fluo marker, which are the Dorian notes. So what are those notes? So let's take a look, all right? So we call this the 6th and the 9th, but what are they? So if I go to the first 5 notes, the pentatonic scale minor, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Now you have the minor pentatonic scale, but the Dorian scale does this. Already a new note, right? Sidestepping to the left, new note. and then, so I have now, this 10th fret is a new note, and on this 7th fret on the 4th string is a new note. We call these notes the 9th and the 6th, guys, right? So those are two new sounds, and let me talk a little bit about those sounds, right? So, and the coolest thing to talk about the sound, I believe, is just listen quickly to the chords, right? So here's that second note, the newcomer. I'm gonna have it here also then. And I'm gonna make this chord. It's just a minor 9 chord, right? So over the backing track sounds like this. So try to remember that sound, the note itself. Sweet, subtle note, right? It's always one of the coolest and one of my favorite notes in all kind of modes, right? The 9th, right? Nothing too special. A lot of other scales have that 9th, right? It's a cool note. It's not the most important note. The most important note, and the note, that other note that we're adding, that's what makes the Dorian scale the Dorian scale. And it's that 6th, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Really want you guys to get your finger here on that 10th fret on the 2nd string, because that is what I call the Dorian note, right? It's the 6th note of the scale. Let's make also a chord of that here. Let's play that chord over the backing track. You just hear how that goes, right? How that sounds. And then the note itself. So you give like a kind of an emotion to that, but it sounds a little bit dirty, it sounds a bit sinister, a little bit dark. I love that sound so much. That is the Dorian sound, right guys? Good. That's kind of the theory. I'm gonna go straight into lines with you guys right now. So you know how to study it. It's just an upgrade of the minor pentatonic scale. We add two notes, the 6th and the 9th, we call them, and it's the 6th. That note is very characteristic to Dorian sound. I call that the Dorian note. Here we go, guys. Let's do some lines together here. So here's the first line. We're gonna do 4 simple lines first, and then some conceptual lines. Here's the first one. In screen tabs. That's the first line, guys. I love that combination between that 6th and the minor 3rd in this case. Also mine in all my lessons, guys. This is very much Greg Howe inspired channel, so I'm doing hybrid picking. That little M in a tab is always a middle finger pluck, right? If you find a circle T, you'll always know that it's a hammer-on from nowhere. So watch out for these things, and of course I'm not afraid of doing some nasty slide vibrating too as well. Alright, next line for you guys, so here we go. So that's the second lick for you guys. Really simple idea, but very Greg Howe inspired, and it uses that Dorian note as well. Let's move on to lick number 3. Very simple line again, but again, really hitting that major 6. Now guys, of course there are much more lines targeting that 6th also in the other fingerings, but that's some more content on my Patreon page, right guys? I'm gonna go a little bit deeper. I'm gonna also explore some lines in the other fingerings. For now, we're sticking here on YouTube and on my basic Patreon membership, we're sticking with that first fingering because, and don't get me wrong, it is important because you want to really now, as your first step, make that connection between a world you already know and then, here are the new notes and here are some lines in a world you already know. That's the roadmap to fusion idea, to just gently bring you into that world. Right guys, here's lick number 4. So now you know again how much this channel is Greg Howe inspired, of course. Real Greg Howe fans will almost recognize some album ideas, I guess, but anyway. Even starting with that 6, right? Alright, those are 4 lines that just target the 6. Let me give you now some more lines based on concepts. The first concept is again targeting that 6, that Dorian note, but what I call a chromatic walk-up. So, and it's this kind of sequence I want to show you here. It's this note we're targeting. We're going to this. And I'm doing. So I'm walking up. I'm chromatically walking up to that 6th note, right? Right guys, chromatic walk-up concept. Here's another one. So the idea is the same. Here's also that 6th. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Walking chromatically into it. String skip. Ending again on that 6th, right guys? You want to make it a little bit more interesting to go. Hammering on again on that 12th fret. But in the tabs, just. So these are conceptual ideas, guys, meaning that you know the concept, you go on, you find 6th, those notes elsewhere on the neck, you do that chromatic walk-up, and you just see what lines you can build. Last concept, guys, and I don't want to go too much into detail, but let's do also a little bit arpeggio based lines, but don't worry too much. I'm going to do a line. There's 2 like very favorite arpeggios of Greg over kind of minor chords. First of all is the related 7 arpeggio. Now don't worry too much, but it's kind of over C minor. What really works well is an F7 arpeggio. Here we go. 5L shape of a 7 arpeggio. If that's Chinese, get my arpeggio guide. The shapes are in there, even with that language I just said. A 5L shape of a F7. But don't worry too much, just know that this shape works. If you really verify, you would see those are all C Dorian notes. But we call this an F7 arpeggio. Whatever we call this, just know that I'm seeing that arpeggio. Here we go. Here's the line. Right, guys. So when Greg plays that, I really believe he's thinking in arpeggio. It's not really like some random stuff he came up with, right? He's seeing that F7 arpeggio that works beautiful over C Dorian. There's another arpeggio that really works well. It's an A minor 7 flat 5 arpeggio. This one. Right, so but don't worry too much about the arpeggio or the theory about it. We're gonna just use that bottom shape here, the top shape I mean. And the line is this last concept is just using some favorite arpeggio sounds over a C Dorian, even the favorite arpeggio shapes that Greg uses all the time. So it's really the favorite arpeggio, the favorite shape of the favorite arpeggio. So really important, guys, to just learn those shapes. Again, don't get paralyzed by theory, just learn those shapes. Right? Guys, there's a downloadable version on Patreon as well as a second part for my top tier members there, which triple the lines that you saw here to give you even more ideas in the other fingerings of the neck, right? Here are my patrons, thanking them from the bottom of my heart. They keep the brand alive and help me really a lot in my efforts in doing this. Also, guys, get my arpeggio guide if arpeggios are new to you, and if they're not new, get it anyway, because you can always learn a new shape, I guess. Thirdly, guys, subscribe to the channel because you don't want to miss, I hope you don't want to miss any of these kind of roadmap to fusion lessons I will be giving coming weeks and months. I'm going to alternate between that and, of course, the sunny breakdown from Greg's improvisation. And finally, guys, here's a video that is going to go a little bit deeper, if you like, into that discussion of learning like tune up string and the modal stuff, Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, and so on, and that simple approach where you just say, let's stick with 5 fingerings, like a gauged approach, right? You can get a video, get a lesson on, or at least my view on that, clicking on that one. Alright guys, see you soon for the next lesson. Bye.